And greetings, boys and girls. Welcome to season 7, episode 6 here of Isles Talk. I am your one and only host tonight, Paul Kreischer. We're going over the prospects tonight. Gary's not feeling well, so he's going to be out of commission for a little while. And Joe works with UPS. So I'm not expecting to see Joe anytime soon, probably not until January. So, with that in mind, you guys unfortunately are stuck with me, and it's actually a good thing because let's face it, the NHL, the standings haven't changed, the numbers haven't changed since we last talked, and I wanted to go over something that really has a lot of importance for this Islanders organization moving forward. Uh, Thomas wanted to get this question in real quick. Do I see Yzerman or Maggio playing for the Islanders at some point this season? Yzerman, no. Maggio will depend on injuries, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, believe it or not, boys and girls, this is the time where I start to take a look at the NHL draft. Been doing it for years, and the reason why I start doing it this early is because the World Junior Championships is just a few weeks away. It's, in my opinion, probably the closest thing that a lot of these younger players have to the NHL in terms of the international flair. Everyone coming together to, you know, play those games. Um, are the World Juniors a be all end all? No, not by a long shot. But this is the time where you get to see how healthy your organization is. And then you go and you start looking at names, you start looking at positions, you start looking at other things, and I'll get into that in a minute. For me, probably over the next 4 to 6 weeks, well before the Olympic break, the next 6 weeks for me to see how healthy this Islander team really is going to be, the Islander organization is going to be, is a big one. Especially if you're a Mets fan. I get you. I get you, Matthew. I know. But let's let's do a little positive here on the Islanders. Um, when it comes to prospects, guys, this could be a big year for the organization, and I mean that. There's a possibility we could have a couple of kids in the pipeline, definitely by next season. You've got some players in Bridgeport right now who are basically having career years, and they're giving the organization a better understanding of who they are. And the Islanders also have a couple of late bloomers that we're going to talk about as well. And what I've been doing since I've been, for the longest time, I've been covering the draft now since 2008 to a degree. Very, very basic, not like the scouts do, but I always look for the healthiness of an organization. For example, Colorado Avalanche, first place in the NHL. The Colorado Eagles in the American League are tops of their division. Last year, Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champs, they had their American Hockey League team go far into the playoffs. It's the same thing with the Penguins. It's the same thing with the Bruins. It's the same thing with the Capitals and the Hershey Bears. You always see some kind of stability from both the National League and the American League teams. And that has been something I've been wanting this organization to have for such a long time. It goes back to the Bill Torrey days. The Islanders were winning 4 cups in a row. Their minor league teams were also winning championships. Thank you, Jimmy Devellano. During the troubles of the mid 90s, the Islanders weren't doing so great, but the Utah Grizzlies were winning championships. There was always that little bit of upside. When the Islanders had that big run in 2002 from the playoffs, Bridgeport around that same time, Calder Cup finals. That's what you needed to see. Now, at the beginning of this season, I had said, along with Joe, that we felt that this was going to be a transitional period of like 3 or 4 years, and that this was going to be like something between 89 and 92. You saw Pat LaFontaine for Pierre Turgeon, Brent Sutter for Steve Thomas, so on and so forth. A bunch of players being changed. But what also happened was that the Islanders American Hockey League team in Springfield also won the Calder Cup. So within that 4 year cycle, they built up the prospect pool. They brought in some. They needed to make the trades that they needed to make, and look what happened in 1993. We all, for those of us, you remember your history. And they are on the right path. But now I'm going to explain to you guys how much of a path they're actually on. And this is going to be a little exciting for me. And some of you may actually get to maybe understand. You can definitely disagree, but you can definitely understand why I have my reservations with Cal Ritchie at least being up for this long. And a little bit has to do with Matthew Schaefer still. But that'll be a time thing with me. So, a couple of things about the prospects and the way I don't want to say rank them. This is not a ranking one. This is more of a where is this organization going? I do not put any expectations on first year players. They're entering a new league. They're maybe entering a new city. They may be having a culture shock, moving from one country to another. I always give that first year an adjustment period because life happens. Okay. I set no expectations. I don't care if they're a rookie in the National Hockey League. There's no expectations. I set no expectations for Schaefer, no expectations for Ritchie. There's more hope than there is expectations. But again, that's a little bit of me. The other thing I look at under pressure. I don't generally look at the regular season for junior players. Um, if they had a couple of back to backs, um, more pressure situations happens in the playoffs, and especially after they've been drafted, I really don't take a look too long at the junior players, except for the playoffs, because for me, the juniors, the CHL for me, and this is what I've learned over the years and talking to other people, including scouts, it's like high school baseball in the States. You have your sophomores, some sophomores, but it's mostly juniors, seniors in high school, and then maybe your freshmen and sophomores in college coming together in the hockey league. But again, like high school baseball, for some of you who played or even know, coaches have got to do whatever they got to do to keep their jobs. Parents always want their star kids to be their starting pitcher, or they got to be playing first base. You got to play favorites every once in a while. And it's not like the CHL is, it's an awesome league. They're fun to watch. You see the mistakes, but after a player has been drafted by the Islanders specifically, I don't pay attention too much to the regular season because they may have a different role. They may be asked to do something else by the Islanders. Um, but I will look at them definitely more at the playoffs, or if I can take a look at their schedule, if they really had like a tough stretch, that's where I'll dig into because it's good when they succeed, but I want to see them succeed after they've hit a little stump, after a little rut in the road. How did they adapt? How did they get better? What's the lesson learned? Yada, yada, yada. So I don't go specifically with juniors in the junior league. I don't go with um, all the fanfare. I'm not worried about the amount of goals that they scored, um, or the amount of points or the highlights or whatnot. Playoff time, you can't find me. Well, you can find me. It's actually easy. I'm glued to the TV. I'm watching all of the games. Um, for me, March, April, May, forget it. If I could take off, I would. I'd be watching every playoff game with all the prospects. But I get to see most of them. So, having said that, the Islanders right now, I got to tell you guys, this is a pivotal season, and that's a good thing. A lot of you don't like mediocre. A lot of you don't like the mushy middle. Um, this is the second half of this season could absolutely determine what direction this organization is going to go. Okay, there's a real possibility that the NHL, the New York Islanders, the Bridgeport Islanders, and the Worcester Railers could all make the playoffs in the same year. It's very, very possible. But what I'm more intrigued with is the idea of Bridgeport loading up on some prospects who may or may not be there yet and having one heck of a run. That would be a joy for me, only to see these guys move up maybe sooner than later. So the goal for this show, we originally said in episode 1 that this was like a 4-year thing. With the way the NHL standings have been going and with some of the pipeline coming in, it may not be 4 years. It could be 3. Depending on how things turn out, it could be no more than 2. But again, I count last year as year 1. Okay, usually when teams miss the playoffs like this, it's because of injuries, and the Islanders were hit with a plague. So the question is, how far away is this organization from making the playoffs in every part of the league? And that's what we're going to go through tonight. And we're going to start off with the World Junior kids. Here we go. Aitchison can shoot the puck, but how is his defensive game and how he can control his emotions enough not to take bad penalties? That is an awesome question mark, and I think we're going to find that out at the World Juniors. Um, Aitchison has some experience, international, I believe. I just want to see him play a solid game. He doesn't have to score a lot of goals for me. I think he does have to be a point producer for Team Canada because let's be honest, Matthew Schaefer is not going to be on Team Canada. And you're going to see Aitchison probably in the biggest spotlight. Is he going to be able to produce those points that he's been doing in juniors right now? Is he going to be able to do it on the national stage? Excuse me, the world stage. Okay. I think he can. I don't think it's going to be as much, but I think he could definitely be a factor for Team Canada. If he can keep his emotions in check, he'll be solid. And here's what I like about Aitchison. He put up good numbers in the playoffs last year in the Ontario Hockey League. The American Hockey League, starting next season, will allow 19-year-olds to play in the A. Do I think Aitchison has a shot to be on Bridgeport next season? I do. Will the Islanders go along with that? That'll be up to them. But for right now, Aitchison is the easy one. I think he's American League bound. And I think that kind of benefits defensemen who turn 19 because now you're going to get yourself another year of development at the pro level. There's a little less pressure, if you know what I mean. Um, but that's Aitchison. And what are you getting out of Aitchison right now? And Mark brought up that great question. I don't know. Are you expecting all those goals as a pro? Probably not, but he's got that edge. I don't want to call him a Brendan Witt. Maybe a Brian McCabe. For those of you old enough to remember Brian McCabe, McCabe had some offense to him, but he could throw down a couple of hits. He was a grinder, but he, again, first round talent. Aitchison for me, if I'm gonna go floor, I don't like going ceiling too. I don't like going ceiling on prospects. I've learned that lesson. Aitchison could be a solid bottom pair defenseman, and I would love to eventually pair him up with Isaiah George. I really like both their styles together. Um, they could absolutely help one another out. You could have them both come up to the Islanders at the same time. I don't think they'd miss a beat. Aitchison, along with every other prospect moving forward, speed is going to be a thing. Yes, that's the other thing. 19-year-old per organization. That's gonna be it. Yeah. Will Aitchison be that 19-year-old? That's gonna be it. Well, he might also be close to 20 than Angie too, but I think he's still 19 at the beginning of the season. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Um, that'll probably be decided at camp. But I really would like to see Isaiah George and Aitchison together on a pair. I think that would be phenomenal. Excuse me. Um, moving forward here, let's talk about Eklund over in Sweden, boys and girls. He's in the Swedish Hockey League right now. Granted, he's only got one goal, but he's racked up a bunch of points, a lot of assists. And again, when you're a junior player playing professionals over in Europe, you only get to play a certain amount of time. Okay. Eklund, to me, he's Josh Bailey with an edge. But this kid can score. I think he could be better than Holmstrom. Eklund's putting everything together but score. Eklund's done everything but score goals in the Swedish Hockey League right now. He's close. I love his speed. Part of me will be rooting for Team Sweden. Um, he's going to be there. And to watch him go up against kids, he may have that same effect that Schaefer had on the World Juniors last year. They are, but Aitchison, to my knowledge, has also been working on the right hand side as well. So there is that possibility. Yeah, they have no. For now, he has not been playing well on his offside, but they have been working with him on that. Again, to see him and George both on the Islanders anytime soon is probably not. You might see George there sooner than Aitchison, but give Aitchison the time, and if they can mold him right, yeah, that would be the end goal for me. Um, I'm not a huge George fan. I like his game so far, but we'll get into Bridgeport in a little bit. I think George does have a future with the Islanders. I don't think it's as high as others have said. But I've never disliked Isaiah George's game. Eklund, not a first line player, and this is the other thing. Uh, I think he can be, if not definitely second second line player without a doubt. Second line player would be his floor. Um, Eklund has to put everything together in the American League. This is something that prospects have to realize. The Islanders are still playoff bound. And what they're doing right now is that they're telling prospects, look, if you really want to be in the NHL, you got to prove yourself. Eklund, after he proves himself, will be in the NHL. I've liked this game. He's got a little bit of an edge. He can play the corners. He loves to make that pass. Scoring goals is the only thing left, and that's just him adjusting to the pro level. But again, this is all basic stuff for all these kids. Uh, don't rush. Don't rush me, Angie. I said Nurmi probably should have been in back with London for one more season, but we'll get to Nurmi in a minute. Who else do we have? He's not in the World Juniors, but we'll talk about Prokhorov real quick. Again, I'm showing my age here, but Prokhorov could actually be the Oleg Kavasha we all wanted years ago. Okay. For those of you who remember Oleg Kavasha, big guy. Could actually dominate a game when he actually wanted to. Never did. Never did. Prokhorov and Kavasha was like a 70-point guy one season or 65, something like that. He was like first or second in team scoring. Like he just needed to get angry every once in a while. It never happened. See? Could be. See? Leo knows. Leo knows where I'm going with this. It is kind of funny. Okay. Prokhorov is what we all wanted Kavasha to be. He's got that edge. He'll use the body. Kavasha was a little too finesse for all of us. Prokhorov could be something special moving forward. Again, a little, yeah. Thank you. Leo's right. A little lazy. Prokhorov's not lazy. Don't worry about his numbers again in the KHL. He's got a couple of games on him, but that's what I'm seeing so far. Politan, World Junior Championship bound. Politan reminds me of Clutterbuck. He's got that little bit of Clutterbuck style to him. He'll grind you out. He's got that little edge. He's got that sandpaper. I'm not putting any expectations on him whatsoever. I'm not going to tell him, making the Islanders or whatnot. But, Politan on a bottom line, third line, with a clutter attitude, a clutter vibe to him. I'm going to be very interested to see how he goes up against the rest of the world. Kavasnika. Again, we drafted someone who is in that mold of Zach Parise. Lo and behold, he's actually going from the CHL to the University of Minnesota next season. Team Canada got themselves. He could be that sneaky player for Team Canada. I'll be happy for him as an Islander fan, as Team USA. No. No, not at all. Kavasnika could be a very sneaky pick for Team Canada. He's got Parise written all over, just in the way he plays. Pretty good. So, and then let's get to, let's get to the other two real quick. Camille Bednarik, University BU. Not gonna lie, guys. When you're a freshman in college, it's very rare to get quality playing time. He's getting it this year, and it's starting to show. Bednarik, for me, needs to keep racking up some more points. The defensive side, I don't think is going to be an issue. The game seems to be coming together for him. Yes, Bednarik for me, correct, Angie. This is also correct. Bednarik for me would probably benefit with 3 solid years at BU. 3 solid years at BU, and then we can bring him up to Bridgeport. Okay. I'm also going to say this now with all the World Junior kids before we get into the big one. I think they're all going to make a quick pit stop. Some of them are going to make a little longer than a quick pit stop at Bridgeport. There's nothing wrong with their games. It's just transitioning to, in all honesty, a Patrick Roy style, which is going to emphasize the speed of the game. And I think that's all they're going to need to adjust. So some of them are going to take a little more time, others may not. So, and that's usually the case between the American Hockey League and National Hockey. It's usually the speed and IQ. In this particular organization, speed's going to be an issue. So, Bednarik for me is 3 solid years at BU, but I really like his game. He's your two-way forward. He could be your fourth line center of the future. Could be more, but I need to see more. You're going to need to see more out of Camille moving forward. But the kid so far in his sophomore season has been doing very well. And now let's get into the big boy, Cole Eiserman. Cole is Cole. This is something I've been waiting to see in a year. I want to see Cole Eiserman with a bigger role. I don't want to see him only score goals. I would love to see the two-way game on that world center stage. I want to see him on the first line or second line, depending on where they put him. But I want to see a better rounded game than just sending him in to score goals, not just sending goals. Okay. We all know he can score goals. Can he do more? How is his game without the puck? Okay. From a winger standpoint in Islander history, in terms of the percentages, there is no one better than Cole Eiserman in putting up points in college than Kyle Oposo, Anders Lee, and Alex Jeffries. Those are your 3 best wingers drafted by the Islanders in college. In recent history, granted, Lee played a little bit of center as well, but we'll put Lee on the wing for now. He's right up there with all of them, boys and girls. He's up there with Jeffries. He's up there with Lee. He's up there with Oposo. The question is, does he have an improved all-around game for the World Junior Championships? That's what I'm looking for out of him. What interests me moving forward with Bridgeport, and we'll get into them in a little bit. You know what? I'm going to hold off on that. I'll get to that in a moment. I am actually going to talk about Bridgeport here for a moment. I am going to talk about Bridgeport here for a moment. Bridgeport's 8-11, folks. They're in 7th place right now. Excuse me. Let's do this. Hide. And we'll bring in this one. Bridgeport right now is 8-11. Here's the issue. The record doesn't bother me. Here's why it doesn't bother me. Most of their games have been losses to the Providence Bruins or the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Number 2 and 3 teams in the entire American Hockey League. 2 and 3, respectfully. Their division in Bridgeport is probably the best division in all of the AHL. If there was ever a time to bring in your prospects under the biggest kind of pressure to learn to play to win, it's this year. It's this year. Okay. I originally had my reservations keeping Cal Ritchie up there with the New York Islanders. As it turns out, it really wouldn't matter whether he plays with New York or whether he plays in Bridgeport. Because as of right now, 5 teams in that division are on pace to win 60% of their games, minimum. Providence and Wilkes-Barre, they're on pace for like 70%. You're literally looking at Providence, in no particular order. Providence, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Hershey, Charlotte, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Lehigh Valley, the Flyer organization. They all have like 5.567 winning percentages, 600 winning percentages, and those 2 other teams are at 700. The only spot the Islanders can actually take right now is 6th, and that's going to be between the Hartford Wolfpack, the Islanders, and the Springfield Thunderbirds. I don't think Springfield's going to make it. It's literally going to be down an all-season battle between Hartford and Bridgeport for that 6th spot. I can't see them gaining any higher unless some of those other teams get completely injured or the NHL teams get completely like ravaged with injuries or a plague. So if you're a season ticket holder, yeah, you want Kyle Ritchie up with the big club. If you're looking for prospect development, maybe in a tougher environment for some of us, you'd want Ritchie back in Bridgeport. Cal Ritchie would absolutely put Bridgeport in a playoff hunt probably within a week and probably stay there. That's where the Islanders organization really is down to. It's one centerman. That's where this organization is. One centerman away. If the Islanders brought in, say, a 25-year-old centerman, they'd probably make the playoffs moving forward. For those of you who want JG Pageau traded, I don't think you're going to get a first round for him because there's already been a lot of movement. But you can probably snatch a second rounder and a player to help them win now. You've got something. But that's where this organization is. You are literally one center away from having all 3 teams possibly in a playoff spot. Let me backtrack real quick to Worcester. Worcester has Gleb Veremiev. He's adjusting to pro sports. Not bad. First year, you can go take a look at the numbers. Don't expect much for now. Yessi Nurmi, as already explained. Nurmi, for me, probably should have stayed in the O for one more season. Again, adjusting to pro life is going to take a little longer for him as well. Pulkkinen, your second round defenseman that the Islanders drafted. Again, coming overseas, taking a little time, getting used to the North American game. He's in Worcester, not playing bad, but not there. No, Nermy got sent back down. I think he got sent back down yesterday or today. Agreed, Matthew. Agreed. We lack in the right hand defenseman significantly, but I'm going to change that on you guys a little bit. And this is where the late bloomers in Bridgeport come in. Let me move this over. What I really like about this Bridgeport team, specifically the late bloomers. What do I mean by late bloomers? We are literally looking at 24, 25-year-olds. Some of them you already know. Warren Marshall is one. Travis Mitchell is another. These guys have come up. They've done their part. The Islanders aren't losing with them in the lineup. Joey Larson, boys and girls. Joey Larson is a rookie, Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken. He's just putting up goals. He's putting up goals in the American League. And this is his rookie season. And this is something that the younger prospects are going to have to realize. Unless you're a first round pick or a second round pick, a high second, get ready to play in the American League because the NHL is requiring you basically, 23, 24, you may have a shot then. That's where we're going with this. And yeah, Mitchell has looked good for the amount of time. For the amount of time, he has looked good. You're definitely not expecting anything out of him, just playing with an edge. To help out Matthew here with the right-handed defenseman, take a look at Cole McWard. Cole McWard is a very steady, stay-at-home defenseman. He is a Calder Cup champion with the Abbotsford Canucks. Right defenseman. Plays a very simple game. I would almost compare him to like an Adam Pelech. He has been able to put up very nicely. Believe it or not, the one thing I have to say this with most of Bridgeport, they're all putting up career years, almost, and that includes some of the other prospects we'll be talking about. McWard, Marshall Warren, Adam Beckman, as long as he does not push a referee, and Joey Larson, even though this is his first year, they're all putting up significant numbers in their mid-20s, and that's what you really want to see. What I am hoping out of Bridgeport next season is that most of these guys are here for at least one more season. And this is what I'm going to be talking about moving forward here, and that's bringing in parts of Team USA into the fold with Bridgeport. You're mixing it up with some of the late bloomers and some of the other Bridgeport players that we're going to talk about. And you've got yourself a hell of a deep American Hockey League team moving forward. Matthew Maggio. I've said it before. I will say it again. He is a Matt Barzell of the American League. The only thing I would need out of him right now is a little more on the goal production. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. He's right there, folks. He's 23. Maggio's right there, though. And here's the interesting part. Oh, you take out certain players who have been here for years. They've had lifetime contracts, right? Playing. Matthew Maggio. Give me a moment. Where are we? There we go. Matthew Maggio was a fifth-round pick in 2022. If you take out Matt Martin's 987 games played, the average fifth rounder for the New York Islanders have played 18 games for the Islanders themselves. 18. Do I think Matthew Maggio can play 18 games for the Islanders at any point Moving forward, yeah, yeah, I think he can. Alex Jeffries is also putting everything together. Do I think Alex Jeffries? Let's see. If we take out Casey Zizekas' 800, well, it's old now. He's over 900 games. As a fourth round pick, most Islander draft picks play on average of 20 games for the Islanders in their careers. Do I think Alex Jeffries can play 20 games for the Islanders? Yes. If Cameron Burr can get his game together, do I think he can play 20 games in the NHL for the Islanders? Yes. Okay. When was the last time we actually had? Oh, I can tell you right now. Devon Chase in 2014. Sebastian Aho was 2017. We're looking at 8 years apart on that one, and we're looking at almost 10 years, 11 years for fourth and fifth rounders making an impact on this team. You could do that with Jeffries. Isaiah George already has 33. You're getting production, hopefully soon, from your fourth and fifth round picks, which is something Islanders we have not been able to say in God knows how long. There is some talent there moving forward. And this is what I want to see right now. If Bridgeport can hold up and stay within the playoff race, like I said, they're missing one centerman. They're basically missing a number one or number two centerman right now. I would love to see Danny Nelson on a PTO. If it's allowed, I haven't double checked yet. If Aitchison can come in on a PTO, if Iserman can come in on a PTO, and let's just have fun for now. Let's say the New York Islanders don't make the playoffs. I would love to see Cal Ritchie, even Shabanov. Give Shabanov a little more seasoning, give him some playoff experience with all of these guys. That is a loaded Bridgeport playoff run. Bring on Wilkes-Barre, bring on Providence, bring on Hershey. The level of talent there, Bridgeport alone, yeah, that's something you want to see out of this organization. I did not mention Quinn Finley yet because Quinn Finley is with Wisconsin, and right now I think they're ranked number one or number two in the nation. I don't see Quinn Finley here because I think he's going for a national championship. But to that point, Brush, Quinn Finley could be on this team next season. The Islanders may not have to go very big on free agency. They may just bring in their own homegrown talent, which is something we have not been able to say in quite some time. And if the New York Islanders do make the playoffs and Bridgeport somehow holds on during the season, you can hopefully bring in Danny Nelson and give him a decent playoff run. At least there'll be experience there. But trading Pajot, if the Islanders do, I would hope they get someone back to go along with the pick. Maybe not at the level of Brock Nelson. The other college player, well done, is Zach Schultz. Schultz is another good stay-at-home defenseman. Not enough points for me, though. He's like Adam Pelech this year. Great defensively. In a league that's probably going to ask you to score more goals and points, I think Schultz, I don't think he'll be out of place in Bridgeport, but that offensive game's got to get better. Definitely, definitely better. They're not bad picks. That's what I was looking for here. Okay. I'm also looking at Thomas Machu over in Providence. Same deal. Good size, good playing, steady game, needs more points. Is there anyone else I'm missing right now? Don't worry about Sam Larilla. Xavier Veliu. Keep an eye on him. Sneaky 6th round 2024 pick. He's got 7 points in 11 games for Cornell. And Cornell is now nationally ranked. Okay. Homegrown all the way? I hope so. I hope so. Because I'll tell you right now, boys and girls, there's a lot of prospects who are going to be coming into Bridgeport who will be filling in Worcester as well over the next 2 years. You're getting some late bloomers right now who probably could fill in if they really fit the system. They'll at least give you a little bit of energy and spark for all the season ticket holders. The question is, will they look out of place? I don't think so. They're doing pretty well. And this is the nice thing. Bridgeport's only 20 games in. These guys are literally just finding their games now. It's like, oh, wow, look at this. An actual system that we're playing in. The second half of this season, with the goaltending, it's very eerie, believe it or not. Goaltending is going to be the key for both clubs. Henrik Tikkanen has come out of nowhere, and he's been lights out. Granted, 2 games, but he's got like a 1.9 goals against average. Lights out. Don't know where he came from, but he's 25. He's no longer a prospect, but he's doing the job. So, as far as this little transition time for the Islanders, year 2 kind of makes sense. I'm really looking forward to year 3, guys. Like as an organization, year 3, I'm really going to be more upbeat than I am this year. Islanders are a goalie lab. Yes, let's talk about the goalies real quick. Look, any goalie with a 1.9 goals against average in the KHL, that's normal. Anyone with a high save percentage in the KHL, that's normal. Okay. Again, regular season, I don't count as much unless they're playing professionally. I still like Gidloff. Um, Gidloff to me is still going to be that guy. Um, Not that the other ones aren't there. Um, Gamzin is there. Hood, give them time. They all just need a little time. Terry has not even started scoring yet. That's the other good point. Yeah. Chris Terry has not scored yet. Bridgeport's literally, I'm going to say this right now. The New York Islanders, the whole organization, they're missing just one center. One more center. A right-handed defenseman, yes, please. Yeah, we all know that. I've been begging for a right-handed defenseman now for, I don't know, it feels like a decade. And this was going to be the draft to do it. But if the Islanders can wrap up a centerman now to start this second half of the season moving forward, look out. You can keep Cal Ritchie, New York. Let Cal Ritchie and Schaefer help try to get you guys into the playoffs. But I think that's going to be more difficult than people may realize. So there's a lot to digest here. Um, but the Islanders, even after year one, the draft that they had and what could happen. And this is the other thing too. I really don't want the Islanders to trade their first round picks. Don't do it. If they can continue to draft first round picks and do nothing else but development, I'll be fine with that. If they want to rack up an extra pick and a prospect for Pajot, okay, fine. But there's no guarantee that Pajot's getting traded either. I think there's more of a chance that Pajot's going to get traded than Lee. So, yeah, this year's draft is absolutely huge. No doubt. I agree. Robert, I would like to see a D man who not only can stay at home, but a player who's not afraid to duke it out. We can't continue to have liberties taken our young guns. They've been looking for that. Okay, I said that last week. The Islanders have been shopping for something like that, either a forward or a D man or both, weeks before Romanoff uh, was injured. So you're not wrong, Robert. The Isles are on that same mindset. Um, Nothing's transpired because everyone's still in the playoffs. Despite Buffalo's record, they go 8-2. They got a shot at the division. Go figure. It's December 12th. When do we still have Buffalo in a playoff spot? They're still in it. Can't get rid of them yet. They're close, but you know, kind of a win for Buffalo here. The standings right now. We talked about this last week. A lot of this isn't changing. Uh, Arbor, Zetka. Yeah. Montreal has already picked up the phone about him. A lot of teams want him. I don't know who we'd have to give up for that. He wouldn't be a bad idea. So I don't know. That's a good call. Doobie, doobie doo. Any other questions, comments, concerns, guys? We're gonna go into water cooler talk here in a minute. Um, yeah, this the all these prospects in Bridgeport, they're all having career years. They're actually showing Darsh, in a Patrick Watts like system, how well they're doing. You know, it's refreshing, and I don't mind their record because they're they're probably in the toughest division right now in the American League. So don't worry so much about their record at the moment. They're doing all of this against better teams. That's what you want to see. Oh, any other questions, boys and girls? Moving forward, I would they probably would want Iserman. Probably. Yeah, yeah. Shakira is actually part of, you know, he's supposed to be part of the long term for the Habs, but the Habs have like three defensemen who could be on the trade deadline. You know, they're on the trading block. We'll see where they are. They got a couple of young defensemen. He's definitely one of them. But the Habs have some questions moving forward. I don't know if the Islanders would get into that. I haven't really um, particularly looked at that just yet. So, yeah, Eiserman's going to be the big one, guys. I think Eiserman's going to be the one for me to look at World Juniors. Aitchison's going to be another one. Everybody else. going to give them a couple of years. But Aitchison and Iserman for me are probably going to be the two. Um, they're going to be the ones I'm going to be looking at the World Juniors. A little bit of Eklund, but we'll see where they put him. Do not trade any young talent right now. No, I agree. Build this all up. Build them all up. Yeah, I'm telling you now, this next season, from an organizational standpoint, this has been a time I've been waiting for. Now, I can't tell you. I can't tell you the talent that's here now. Hopefully, we keep for at least another year, bringing in guys from Team USA if it's possible. Um, yeah, and then the year after that, it's going to be the same. There's really going to be a great pipeline over the next 2 or 3 seasons, whether it's Worcester or whether it's in Bridgeport. And now you're really going to have a lot of options um, moving forward. Yeah, no, teams are. I wouldn't be surprised if teams were interested in Aitchison. I wouldn't doubt it. And look, I've said this last week. It's very tough right now for the Islanders to make trades because they don't want our picks. They don't want the players. They want the prospects. They want the farm. That's who they want right now. For once, we're the envy of prospects. Go figure. Yeah, they do have an abundance of young D-men, the Habs. So, and that's the question: would some of these late bloomers be a part of a trade package for another player now? Who knows? Going to be very, very interesting to see moving forward. And yeah, we've scouted Vancouver in recent years. That's true. And wound up with Gacom and McWard. I can see another move happening with them. Look, I wouldn't mind taking Atu Ratu back. Vancouver doesn't want to trade him. I wouldn't mind taking Atu Ratu back. There we go. Yeah. See, great minds think alike. But then the question becomes, do the Islanders feel that Cal Ritchie's a number two center? I don't know if that would be the case right now. Ratu as a number three probably would work. Yeah, Ratu's been good. Out this. So, any other questions, comments, concerns about the kids, prospects, the future? Uh, have at it, guys. What do we got? Any more questions? I do love the prospects and the development so far. Thompson is done with Buffalo. Maybe. What are you implying? I'm not gonna lie, guys. I really like the idea at some point of Jeffries, Ritchie, and Holmstrom, or a Jeffries, Ritchie, and Maggio third line. Could we see it happen? Maybe. Maggio's got the speed. There's no doubt about it. Maggio probably fits in Patrick Watt's system better than Jeffries. Um, but Jeffries is also a playmaking sniper. Him and Cal Ritchie together, oh, you throw in Matthew Maggio's shot. Yeah. It has been fun. It has been fun as long as you don't not setting expectations, heavy expectations on this whole organization this year has been refreshing. Um, Literally just to kick back and watch what's going on. Um, it's actually easier this year, I think, than trying to say, "Hey, can the Islanders make the playoffs?" or "Are the Islanders going to get second?" or this and that. Um, because we came from a season with a lot of injuries last year. For both squads. So you know, both Bridgeport and New York are really doing well for what they have at the moment. The biggest thing for me is, can this team stay healthy? Can the whole organization stay healthy for the most part? If they can, okay, I'm really gonna like next season. Really gonna like next season, and I'm really gonna like next season after that. I have noticed that. I have noticed that, but I'll tell you right now, Angie, Shabanoff to me next season. Shabanoff to me, I think he's going to be that player to watch next season. He's got the speed. If he can put it all together next year, I think Shabanoff's really going to turn it up. Ah, yes, I did forget my man here, Cameron Burke. Listen, Cameron's also lighting it up. Um, the speed of the game, I think he's getting used to it as well. Again, the fourth line isn't that great, but that's where he's on. He's taking the Kyle McLean path. He's signing those 1-year deals with Bridgeport, and I don't think you're moving Casey Zizekas anytime soon. Um, but could I see Cameron Berg playing in the NHL at some point? Yeah. On that fourth line? Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Going back to this real quick, Angie, I think Eklund's going to really do well. Eklund, I know he's a Bailey, but he could also be a Shabanoff. He may lean more towards a Shabanoff, but I think Eklund's got that IQ as well. Can we lose Enval and Varley contracts in the offseason? We could. Uh, the CBA is ending. So are we going to get any buyouts? That's going to be the question for me. I don't know if it's going to happen. We haven't been told anything yet. I also haven't been told that it's not happening yet. So we'll find out, but we might be able to. I'm not sure. Envol's always going to be that tricky question over the summer for like the next couple of summers, but we'll find out. Eklund is a pit bull. Yes, he is. He's Kavasha. No, he's Shabanoff. Shabanoff with a little bit more of an edge, but I like his IQ though. His IQ is really there. Any other questions, comments on the prospects? Questions on the future of the whole organization? So I said in the beginning of the show, and definitely on episode one, it took the Islanders roughly 4 years, and then in the fifth year, Stanley Cup run, conference finals in '93. Um, Not gonna lie, guys, conference final run. If Bridgeport can get themselves the younger players in the pipeline now, have a legit run, call it deep playoff run, a la Devils from a few years back. I think they could do it in 3 years, maybe 3 years. Think about it. You got all the prospects having career years right now. They're going to be pros. You're bringing in Team USA, players from Team USA. And then at some point, Aitchison and Eklund, all that depth. The Islanders are going to have money to spend. If you bring up some of the pros now in Bridgeport, bring them up, pennies on the dollar, they could probably do the same amount. There's a lot of spending that could happen over the next 2 seasons as well. I would love Verhoff, but that's not happening because we kept Matthew Schaefer here. That's another side story. I'll whine about it later. No, George is not taking a step back. Warren and Mitchell have jumped in, it seems, and that's because they're 24, 25. They're used to the pro game. George has played a steady game right now. To label him a top 4 NHL defenseman, maybe on a bad team, not on this team. He's going through the motions. He's playing it safe. Those transitional passes are there. It's the rest of his game that needs to work on. That's a good one. That's a good comparison. That's a good comparison. I'm gonna go one step further though. My reservations for right now for Richie is this. The league itself is changing. Okay. Everyone's promoting goals. Everyone's promoting the points. Everything you said with Richie right now is correct. The reservation I have is the amount of points he's putting up, the goals right now. Does he fit in? Sure. But define fitting in. And this is something we're all going to have to take a look at moving forward. Does fitting in include putting up goals and points? If that's the case, he's being okay in the new NHL. You know what I mean? Granted, he finally has steady line mates. And it might just be one half dozen of another, whether he plays in New York or Bridgeport this year. Bridgeport can only go up one more spot in the playoffs. Let's be honest. Will it hurt Cal Ritchie, whether he plays in Bridgeport or New York? No. No, that division in the American League is top notch right now. It's probably the toughest division. It's not a cakewalk. You want that for your prospects. It would be nice if Bridgeport filled the seats, granted. But in terms of the actual game, Cal Ritchie won't miss a beat. The competition would still be tough there. I know, Angie, you're making this worse for me. Okay? I know. I wanted Verhoff too. It's not happening. Kept Matthew Schaefer. But that's another. Again, don't get me started, Angie. Okay? Oh, anyway. Yeah, if you can get Bridgeport and New York into the playoffs, find a way to get Worcester into playoffs. Worcester's close too. Worcester is ninth in the conference. You need to be 8 to get in. They're running off, full blast 2 right now. Keep those first 2 picks. Matter of fact, keep keep the first 2 picks. First 2 rounds. If you can grab another pick and another player, go for it. So far, Schaefer stepped up and proved himself. So far. I still have my reservations. You guys know about that, but he's now tied in with the rest of the team. Can this team stay healthy? The injuries to me it's a big thing. It's a big thing right now. If they can stay healthy, wonderful. I will change my tune. I will eat as much crow as possible. Just give me a little bit of ketchup, mustard, whatnot. But I really want to see this organization probably by game 50 or 60. That's going to be the telling part. If by game 60s they're still on pace for 87 to 92, that's a healthy season. For me, that's a healthy season. And then I'm even more excited for what's going to happen in the offseason with all of the prospects coming in. Over the next 2 seasons, for me, it's like finally, finally, very minimal expectations for me this year. They're basically no expectations. It's looking at this Islander team, New York team. Actually, it's New York and Bridgeport. Can both teams stay healthy? If they can, where are they at? And now they're adding all these prospects. But do yourselves a favor when you're watching the World Junior Championships. It's not the law. It's not the book of all things. It's not the end all be all, tournament. You still have the CHL playoffs. You have the national championships in the NCAA. You got all those conference tournaments. There are other things. Okay. But in terms of the world spotlight, this is an excellent shot to see how these players perform under a different kind of pressure. Yes, I don't mind the bubble wrap. Yes, bubble wrap them. I don't care what it takes. Don't let Matt Barzal on a penalty kill anymore. I don't care what happens. We're too old for this. We're don't we're superstitious. We were bred this way now. So listen, folks. This is where we're at. The Islanders, as an organization, they've had one or two missteps with the injuries and whatnot. Their prospect pool is now coming together. Year 3 is seeing some of that come together. How deep can they go into the playoffs? How are those players in those AHL playoffs going to help the NHL team moving forward? Like that team in the late '80s, early '90s, helping out that '93 team. Okay, Bridgeport produced Rick DiPietro, Trent Hunter, eventually Franz Nielsen, Sean Bergenheim, some of those guys that went to the playoffs. Okay, and let's face it, Lee, Nelson, even Strome back then, Pelech, Pullock, these guys all went through the American League first to get where they were now. You have 2 Eastern Conference championships because of that. The Islanders need to get back to that recipe, and finally, we're at a point where it's like, oh, we're so close. Everything's starting to come together. I may agree with that. And Angie's correct. Right now, McKenna right now is not. He's a number one ranked prospect in some places, but right now he's dipped below Stenberg, below Verhoff. He's like 3 or 4 in some respects. I think Angie's right. The World Junior Championships is going to determine where McKenna is. You should be excited about the prospect pool. Look, I've said this before, and come season's end, come join me for the draft. I go through every stinking player this organization has. I don't have much of a life at the moment. Okay, that's going to go deeper with what everyone's been watching here. You should be excited about the prospect pool. These kids, whether Lou drafted them or if it's going to be Darch, these kids are going to be heading to Bridgeport. They don't have much of a choice because the big club keeps making the playoffs. That's good sign number 1. Good sign number 2, to consistently have your minor league team make the playoffs is another good sign for the organization, and not only bringing in your prospects, but bringing in free agents as well. You're at that point, Islander fans. You're not playing 16 rookies in a season. That's what happened last year. What these kids do in Bridgeport will determine their NHL future. It has to, unless you are a Matthew Schaefer, unless you are a John Tavares, unless you are a Matt Barzal. But now, finally, for me, I'm starting to see this organization healthy. And by that, you've got the NHL team making the playoffs. You've got the American Hockey League team making the playoffs. I'll even cheer on the East Coast Hockey League teams, the Worcester Railers. They're close to a playoff spot. We haven't been in this situation, I think, in what, 6, 7 years? Been a long time. 7 years, solid. 7, 8 years. Been a long time coming. I know. I know. I know. You guys have been watching me now for God knows how long. Okay. It's been on 10 years. It's been going on 10 years on Facebook. We only did Facebook for a little while. It's been like 7 on everywhere else. Okay. I've been wanting a right-handed defenseman. I have begged the Islanders to just draft the right-handed defenseman in the first or second rounds now for God knows how long. I think they're doing it just to piss me off. They love seeing my reaction to it. We need that right-handed defenseman. Get that ready for Schaefer. Give me a high speedy IQ kid. Give me a Devontae's. Give me a right-handed version of Devontae's. Thank you. Thank you. I'll even go a step again. Give me a right-handed version of Ryan Pulock. Another right-handed Ryan Pulock who can score goals too. I love Pulock. There he is. He's back there. Ryan Pulock who can score a few more goals. Devontae, something like that, who can match the IQ of Matthew Schaefer. Done. Yeah, Mark, we were talking. I was talking about this before. A lot of those first round picks have already been traded by other teams. Um, I don't know if there's going to be a first round pick available. I mean, the Rangers have two in the bottom rounds. I don't think we're trading with the Rangers. That seems to be like the situation we have. Anaheim might be the only team we are able to trade with in the first round if we were to trade Pajot. I don't know if Pajot would go to Anaheim. I don't know if Anaheim would give up the first rounder. Um, if you can, well, let's put you this way: if the Islanders do miss, if the New York Islanders miss the playoffs, you can talk to Pittsburgh, who has two second rounders, higher second round picks. You can trade Pajot for a pick and a prospect. You can also talk to the Florida Panthers, who I also believe have a higher second round pick, but they have two in that draft as well, picking a prospect. I know Mark does not like second round picks. I get it. The second round pick, one of them that Florida and both Pittsburgh have, they're higher second round picks. You can still do some damage with that. Ethan Bear injured. Not a clue. Not a clue. They signed him. He gets injured. What the hell? Point taken. But you guys get, yeah, stop being so literal with me. This is water cooler talk. You need someone with a good IQ to at least get where Schaefer's coming from. And Schaefer's going to make that other defenseman better anyway. So watch them both grow together. I agree. Well, looks better now with Schaefer here and making him move on the point instead of being a. I agree. I agree. I'm hoping Ryan scores like 5 goals second half of the season. God, dude needs him. He scores 5 goals. Ryan Pulock's finally going to get that 40-point pace I've been asking for. It's in him. It's always been in him, but it's just like, oh, I'm starting to like our fourth line. I agreed. Agreed. There's cohesiveness. I can't talk. Cohesiveness there, but we're really lacking muscle. We're lacking a little grit. Um, we don't need the identity line, but I mean, if Gakcombe could put on 20 pounds of muscle, I don't think I'd have an issue anymore. You know what I mean? Keep the speed, keep the hitting, and whatnot. Uh, I don't know if Aitchison would have the speed, But you know what? I don't want to put Aitchison. I don't want to say no because Aitchison is not in Bridgeport yet. I don't want to. I don't want to really set any expectations on him just yet. I don't know if Aitchison is set up with Schaefer. That'll be because Schaefer really built up his game. That would be a couple of years from now. I think Schaefer kind of needs someone soon. You know what, guy? You guys are really going to hate me for this one. You know who I really would love to see the Islanders get in the offseason? I think he's a free agent. Jacob Truba. Jacob Truba with Matthew Schaefer. Yeah, bring Jacob Truba back to this side of New York with Matthew Schaefer. Yeah, I don't know how long of a contract. Granted, he's like 30, 32. I don't know. But, you know, Truba with Schaefer together, even for like 2 years. Oh, 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 man. Just a thought. Yeah, it's just, yeah, there's nothing there. Brady Kachuk, for some strange reason, again, water cooler talk. Brady wants to go to Florida where he wants to stay in Ottawa. I think it's one of the two. Sippy. Sippy right now is finding his game. You know, the speed element is there. He's slowly getting it. Sophomore slump. Is he allowed to have a sophomore slump? He was showing signs of improvement. There's no doubt. But you know, I still think there's more pressure on Patrick Waugh than most people may realize. Patrick Waugh's here to win. He's here to win. He's here to win now. He's not here to develop. He's going to play the guys that are going to work with his system and produce whatever they can. McLean, you can't really sit yet because he's the centerman for now. Him and Cizikas and Guycombe, I really don't think you can change that up. Oh, there is one player I forgot to bring up, guys. Itu Liukas. Itu Liukas, believe it or not, guys, he's putting up numbers that would be consistent with a fourth line player. And out of everybody, I think if there's anyone who could be NHL ready, at least for a cup of coffee, it would be Liukas. And for me, Liukas was like Matt Martin. He would be like a modern day Matt Martin, not so much of the hitting or the fighting or whatnot, but he's definitely a grinder. And his overall game is coming together very, very nicely. Um, Definitely an energy guy. And I think Islander fans would probably adopt him very, very quickly. I've liked Liukas's game so far. But it is definitely for that maybe a 13th forward, but definitely a fourth line left winger role. I wouldn't mind that at all. Um, Siplikov, Cameron Berg, and Liukas. Ah, I'll take that. That wouldn't bother me at all. Yeah, Berg is no more than 2 years away. No more than 2 years away. I think you know what it is. They're going to give Casey his due. I think they're going to give Casey his due. I don't know. I think McLean's going to be the centerman for now. The question is, can Berg play a game that would outperform McLean at this point? A lot of transition here, guys. You know, Can some of these kids in Bridgeport replace some of the veterans? That's what we're going to see over the next year or two. For pennies on the dollar, and then they can go. The Islanders can spend whatever money they need on specific players now. That's where we're at. It's very, very interesting to see. Somewhat exciting as well. Any more questions, comments, concerns from you guys? This has been a great show. I didn't think I was going to go an hour and a half. Any other players you guys are worried about? Prospects, picks, moving forward? So, having said that, oh, I deleted that. Closing thoughts. The second half of the season, folks, is going to be a big one. This is forget about defining the season. You're going to find out what direction this team really is going in. Whether it's the mushy middle, whether it's going to be down, or you're going to go up. You are going to find your direction. The goalie in Russia, real quick, like I said, every KHL goalie with a 1.9 goals against average and a 929 save percentage, it's normal. Wait for the playoffs. They're all playing, they're all playing okay for the league that they're in. Wait for the playoffs. But they're all on pace to do whatever they're doing. But whenever you see obscene, exciting numbers in the KHL, it's normal. They're all doing that. Okay. I would look good back in, as a backer for the KHL at the moment, even with my busted up knees. Um, Folks, you're in for a treat. Enjoy the World Junior Championships. Watch those young players. We'll talk about it when we get back. But for this second half of the season coming up, and I know we're only like 31 games in, folks, the next 50 games are going to be big for this whole franchise moving forward. I can't overstate that. Some of these kids now that we've been waiting for, or I've been waiting for, they're finally coming. Whether it's on a PTO at the end of the year, or if it's at the beginning of next season, they're all finally coming. Some of them are going to be ready too to play in the American League. How they get to the NHL is going to be up to them. But the Islanders pipeline is going to be there. And then teams are going to be looking at us, be like, why doesn't this team ever miss the playoffs? It's because they're now doing what Tampa has been doing, what Boston has been doing, what Pittsburgh has been doing, what Washington has been doing for the longest time, what Detroit continues to do. All they're doing is bringing up the prospects, and they're not going to miss a beat. That's my wish for Islander fans next season, to see all three teams in their respective leagues in a playoff hunt. That would be something to see. That's something we have not seen in a while. To be like Tampa, to be like Boston, to be like Washington, to be like Florida, to be like Colorado right now. Colorado is first in the National League, not first in the American League, but they're up there. That's my wish for Islander fans moving forward. That would be the first step to the Stanley Cup. After you're seeing all three teams basically in a playoff spot, then you go after the division. That's when you can start really going after the rest of the teams. That's my wish for you guys. And my hope is, if we don't see that next season, my hope is that we can see something late this season with a decent playoff run from Bridgeport. And all right, Robert, let's talk trade deadline real quick. I hate to see us move Pajot. I know it's best to trade a player when he's a commodity, but JG has so much game and he's playing like a kid. I said this last week. I think it's more likely that you will see JG Pajot traded. but we haven't played through the Olympics yet. We don't know who's actually on the Olympic team yet. We don't know if the rink's going to be ready. You know what I mean? If the Islanders are going to be in the playoffs, they're not trading JG Pajot to anyone in the Metro. That's not happening. Maybe to a team in the Atlantic desperate enough. Other than that, you're looking at the West. Where will the Islanders be come trade deadline? That's going to be it. If there are, and I'm not jinxing it, I don't want to see it, but if there's enough injuries where the Islanders just fall off, it will be easier to trade JG Pajot. As we get closer to the playoffs, as we get closer to the trade deadline, we're going to find out a little bit more about Matthew Darsh. We're going to find out if he's going to stick to the system and bringing in the kids, bringing in the younger talent, or if it's about making the playoffs, or maybe a little bit of both. That's the one thing I think Islander fans really want to know. What kind of a GM in action is Matthew Darsh at trade deadline? He's never done it before as an Islander. We're going to find out. But even now, at game, what are we at? 31, 32, whatever we're at. Okay. We don't know. We don't know. We're not going to know. That's why it's tough to do shows right now. I don't want to say it's boring, but nothing's changed. And it's a rare moment in life right now in the NHL. Maybe they don't trade Pajot for a pick or prospect. Maybe, yeah, Jim, let's go with it here. Maybe we need to get bigger and tougher if we're to compete with the Bostons of Floridas. Maybe that's who we go after. Maybe there's another young buck somewhere. Look, we traded Nino Niederreiter for Cal Clutterbuck. We got a little tougher. Gave up some of the scoring. Clutter was able to make that up. The Islanders got to go with a little more size, a little more grit. That left-handed defenseman on the left hand, that bottom pair, lots of speed. But then if you don't have the grip, you don't have a lot of that speed. You need a little bit of both on that left-hand side, right? Time will tell. Time will tell. But I'll tell you right now, boys and girls, this is going to get exciting for a lot of, well, there'll be some drama. There'll be some drama. The direction of this team will be very, very apparent starting with the trade deadline. And then it'll be moving into March. It'll be moving into April. You're really going to find out what direction this whole organization is going to go. And it's my wish, hopefully at some point, that if not this year, next year, with the prospect that we have, to have all three teams in their respective leagues making the playoffs. That's the first step to a Stanley Cup. That's my wish for you guys. So, if you haven't already, guys, please, please, please. Where did I put you? There we go. Please follow us on X at Isles Talk. Please like and follow us on Facebook. Please go on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. All the subscribers, all those numbers have been going up. We're certainly getting more hits. We're doing this for you guys. We love having these conversations. We're glad that you're here every time. Listen, as of right now, the only time we can do a show next week is Monday. Time constraints, a little bit of the schedule going on with me. Gary's into accounting, so he's going to disappear for a little bit. Joe is still also not going to be here because he's a UPS guy. Forget it. So that's why I'm doing the prospects tonight. Just in case we don't do a show next week, it'll be Christmas the week after, and then it'll be the World Junior Championships. So you may not see us for 2 weeks. My goal is to do a show at least on Monday. We'll talk Islanders. We'll do something else. We'll go through the numbers real quick. We'll see if anything changes. And of course, we're going to take your questions, your comments, everything else. So, um, guys, thank you so much. This has been a great time. Glad you guys all enjoyed it. Um, all the Facebook groups, worldwide, Misery, Loyal Islander fans, The Drive for Five, um, Coffee Buzz, Bleed Blue Orange, Islanders, Bleeding Blue, Blue and Orange Islanders group. You all are fantastic. Thank you for having me on those platforms. It's been greatly appreciated. Those of you on X, thank you for showing up as well. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, boys and girls. We'll see you hopefully on Monday. And if there's something you want to talk about, we'll talk about on Monday. We might actually talk about Pat LaFontaine. If you're going to the game on Saturday, do it. If you're not, do it. Go visit Pat. Thank him again. If you never saw Pat, go watch YouTube and then go thank him on Saturday. Let's go Islanders.